how is it that you have Torrey Horton ranked this high?
How high do I have him ranked?
No, your wide receiver 6 over Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel and Eligiah Manor.
Yeah,
How?
I love him. So, I mean, okay, so that's in the rookie ranking side of things. Um, I'll be honest, I just loved Torrey Horton a year ago. I love everything that he does on the field. And the measurement side of things was really bumped him up. I think I had him at like 9, maybe 10 pre-combine. And post combine, I don't think Higgins and Noel hurt themselves at all, or Noel hurt themselves at all. Bond did. Bond came down. So that's kind of the movement that happened. It was Horton bumped ahead of those two guys, Higgins and Noel, who have a lot of helium right now and have been in the mix of this early second, potentially even
Late first.
people specking this late first round thing out there with both Higgins and Noel. But Horton is a guy that I expected, and I was worried. One thing about his frame and build from Colorado State is that he was going to measure in like 6'3" and some change and be like 183 pounds and have like this like bigger Devonta Smith situation or this like Jerome Simpson type build where he's just really long and lanky and very injury prone. He did have knee surgery this past year, made him miss like 7 games. He only played in 5. Still very productive, over 3 yards per route run when he did play this year in the first 5 games. And like I said, he measured him much better, 6'2", 196, way closer to that 200 pound mark than I expected. And he ran a 4.41 coming off of knee surgery, which I was like, whoa, I didn't see that speed within his kind of range of outcomes either. I just really like Torrey Horton. He's going to be a guy like I have talked about, what I like. I'm drafting over on Origins on Fast Draft right now. And I talked about the RG Harvey shares of north of 70%. There's only 2 guys on that whole app that I have more than 45% ownership in or draft, whatever the hell, rostership, I should say, is Harvey and then Torrey Horton, where I got 80% Torrey Horton because he's going off at like 37, 38, 39 in those drafts, and I'm getting him every single time, notches ahead of there. I think he's got a lot of Jordan Addison to his game. I mean, you're down there in Texas. You remember Josh Reynolds as a prospect, right? He was pretty overshadowed, I'd say, at Texas A&M.
Well, no, Reynolds was awesome. He was good. He was super good. He like people thought of him as kind of smaller, super skinny Mike Evans. People loved it. People loved him.
But he played those 2, was it 2014, 2015 at A&M? He played with Mike Evans, right?
Did they overlap?
Was that 2014, the 1 year maybe? Or
May,
was it Reynolds? I think Reynolds maybe was the one that came in like the year later.
Yeah,
That might be wrong.
I don't recall those two overlapping, but I do remember people saying that like he had, they liked Josh Reynolds. Everyone liked Josh Reynolds as far as his, they said what people would say is that he had this, a similar contested catch ability to Mike Evans, but he just wasn't this beast, power forward out of Galveston Ball that was able just every, total my ball mentality. It felt like he was sort of discount Mike Evans, but just smaller and certainly a lot skinnier. Very very gangly and lanky as far as his frame.
I think that might be the best comp for him too. To be honest with you, is Josh Reynolds for Torrey Horton, who Josh Reynolds was drafted in the 4th round. Horton's probably going to be a 4th, 5th round guy. 2-time All Mountain West first team captain. Should have been a 3-time Mountain West first team. He didn't get it this past year. He's just been a target hog. 18 of 30 games at Colorado State. He had more than 6 receptions, sub 5% drop rate the last 2 seasons. Like I talked about the yards per route run. I think overall he's a stud. And this isn't a overwhelmingly strong class. So for me, that's probably going to be my one differentiator in that group. I know people have Alec Ayomanor from Stanford also probably ahead of him. I just don't.
Yeah.
I like Higgins. I like Noel, but I like, there's a little more big play possibility and potential in Torrey Horton.
I just don't see it, man. I don't see it at all. There's no way I could put Torrey Horton ahead of those 2 guys.
I think there's more way, but top range of outcome for Noel and Higgins. Can you tell me what they are?
Top range of the outcomes?
Yeah.
Yeah. The top range of outcomes for Jalen Noel is to come into the league and be as awesome as he's been throughout this whole process, completely wowing us at every single turn and being an Amon-Ra St. Brown type of asset for a team.
I don't think so.
What do you mean you don't think so?
I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown is
You're
a
talking.
top
I mean,
5 player in fantasy
you
football.
said what's the top range outcome?
He's a
I'm
top
telling
5
you what the
player in
top
fantasy
range.
football. Noel does not have top 5 player in fantasy football range of outcome.
Well, dude, you would have said the same thing about Amon-Ra St. Brown coming
Amon-Ra
out.
St. Brown had a hell of a pedigree.
But
and
you
went to
oh
USC, not
yeah
ISU.
because EQ St. Brown was so good coming before him.
No, the Papa. I'm talking about Big Papa.
Oh yeah, because his dad was his dad was a power lifter who said that he doesn't that to taught his kids not to stretch because cheetahs don't stretch. I mean,
That's what
come
Randy
on,
Moss said.
What?
That's what Randy Moss said.
Okay, look, dude.
I'm just saying, man. Everybody knew Amon-Ra.
So you're just, but you're not. What
Everybody knew
is
in high
Jalen
school.
Noel done? What is Jalen Noel done to make you think that there's no way that he could reach his maximum potential? What has Jaden Higgins
for him
done?
is like Christian Kirk.
Okay, but what has Torrey Horton done to make you think that he's all of a sudden going to be? You're saying maybe he's a Josh Reynolds. I think
He's a
going
guy
to go.
that he had offers to go to bigger schools just because he's a Colorado State guy. Like, I think Colorado State and Iowa State aren't that far apart.
Okay. Like, I'm not even talking about Iowa State versus Colorado State. I'm talking about the film I've watched on the guys. I'm talking about what I've seen live in person from these players. I'm talking about like you even said yourself, you view Torrey Horton as like a 4th, 5th round guy.
Yeah,
You said yourself that what?
Amon-Ra was a 4th round pick.
Okay, but what about Jalen Noel?
What about him?
What round pick is he?
I mean, he'll be a 2nd round pick.
What about Jaden Higgins?
He'll be a 2nd round pick. What's the hit? I mean, if this is really what we're going to gauge this off of, just trusting what the NFL is going to do.
I'm not saying that we're going to be trusting what the NFL is going to do, but it's certainly a bullet point that you could consider. Like, these teams are about to spend millions and millions of dollars on these players, and that like to me, I've seen it out of Jalen Noel. I didn't even know he was going to run a 4.39, and he goes and he's going to
run a 4.41.
And I didn't think that Higgins was going to run a 4.47. All these guys, like those two, the 2 Iowa State guys have been extremely impressive through this process. They feel like more guarantee on the box for me. When I look at Higgins, I can say to myself, you asked for the ultimate sort of upside, and I think it's an Amon-Ra St. Brown. If you say it's a Christian Kirk, that's fine. If Jalen Noel turns out to be a Khalil Shakir, a team would be fine with that. Khalil Shakir is a guy that just was able to secure the bag for his 2nd NFL contract with a good team in the Buffalo Bills. Jaden Higgins, if the comps that I originally had on him are all wrong. Because the comps I originally had on him, like the Kenny Gallaudays, this kind of stuff, bigger, like Alan Lazard, this type of stuff. I wasn't. I thought he was going to run a 4.6. The guy runs a 4.47, and then he has everything good about his profile. He's got the Johnny on the spot, chain mover, good hands, everything that we talked about with Higgins, right? It's like, and now we get to add on the fact that he's actually super fast. I don't know, man. We're talking about we know the PFF's cockamamie, but you can at least think that they believe that he does something well if he's the 2nd highest graded receiver in the Power 5.
I'm not going to go out there and just say he's fast, but and I'm not going to overweight his 40, just like I'm not going to overweight Matthew Golden's 40, because Matthew Golden doesn't play with that speed. So I think the bottom line here for me is none of these guys are great. I don't think any of them are elite. I graded on tape Horton the highest of these 3 guys. Higgins and Noel grew through the process at the Senior Bowl. Didn't do anything to hurt themselves at the combine. Horton helped himself at the combine, being healthy. And
Higgins didn't do anything to help himself at the combine. Are you kidding me?
From all 3 of these guys is, if Horton is Josh Reynolds and Noel is Khalil Shakir and Higgins is some sort of Lazard Tim Patrick,
No, you can't say that for a 4.47 from Jaden Higgins.
4.47 is what it is. It's not like it's a 4.38.
He weighs 220 pounds.
He doesn't play at 4.47 speed.
It does, but he's shown that he's now put it. He's now quantifiably shown us that he can't run that fast.
Okay, so Golden showed he could run a 4.29. Does that mean Golden now becomes just like a pseudo god? Like, is he Jamar Chase now?
No, well, no, he's not Jamar Chase.
Okay.
But I'm not making the case that he's Jamar Chase. I'm making the case that these two players are better than Torrey Horton. You have it wrong.
I don't have it wrong.
It's just wrong, and it's bad. And the thing I worry about in the Dynasty Top 250 is I don't have a ranking in there, and Trash Man's he's gonna say like, oh, Cody has it here, and he's gonna rank it just like you do, and we're gonna end up taking Torrey Horton in like the 8th round of these Dynasty startups, and it's gonna be bad.
Yeah, you can be wrong. It's okay. I'm
bad.
not going to be overextended. Listen, Torrey Horton's not going to be.
You have already overextended yourself by putting Torrey Horton as your wide receiver 6. It's a bad process.
Wrong.
It's just bad.
I don't know how you can. I don't know how you can say that when it's the whole class innately after the top 5 guys it's a mishmash. It's not like a pure.
You're saying that after the top 5 that after the top, because Trey Harris needs to be in there.
Yeah.
So it's a 6.
Harris and Hunter are my 5A, 5B. They're both ranked number 5 in the ranking for obvious reasons.
All right. So you're saying after you get through that, after you get through those guys, the guys that, so we're talking about whatever you order you have them in, Ted McMillan, Matthew Golden, Emeka Egbuka, Luther Burden, Travis Hunter, Trey Harris. It's like, I think that anybody's going to have those 6 in some kind of mishmash at the very top. Except for the fact that you see some people that have Jalen Noel or Jaden Higgins in that mishmash. Fair? Because you do. Okay.
There are people I know Brett Whitefield has Noel as like his receiver 3.
Okay. So with that being said, what you're telling me is after that stuff that's very clear at the top, you enter into this completely these unknown waters and these vast number of prospects that you begin, like, the real rankings start now, right? The real rankings start now. And you're saying whenever you get to that spot, you're like, okay, in these vast open waters, my guidepost, my lighthouse, the place where I'm going to start from right there with sorting out the rest of these guys is Torrey Horton from Colorado State. To me, that can't be right.
Horton's not even going to be a top 100 dynasty player asset.
So that means you don't think that Jaden Higgins or Jalen Noel will be?
Not today.
And you don't think Alec Iamaner will be, even after?
No.
I'm
not gonna go out and get over my skis on an underwhelming group.
You are over your skis on Torrey Horton.
Good players. They're good players.
So what you're saying is you would rather get out over your skis on Torrey Horton than Jaden Higgins or Jalen Noel?
No,
because you are over your skis.
I'd rather get over my skis a little bit on Torrey Horton than just stay in the pocket. I think I'm in the pocket on Nolan Higgins.
Okay, but Cody, if you think you're in the pocket with Nolan Higgins, that necessarily makes you out of pocket on Torrey Horton.
I just said I know I'm extended on Torrey Horton.
Okay,
that's my take. It's like you saying you love Scadaboo. It's like there's very few people that love Scadaboo to the level that you do.
No, like, what do you mean? I have Scadaboo as my running back 7, and I think that's right.
Okay.
Some
people like MJD have him at running back 3. What I'm saying is, like, there's even in that running back group where we know how strong the top is, you have. I think MJD's wrong. You shouldn't have Scadaboo at 3, but even you having Scadaboo at 7, when you could go out in the market right now, and I think you would see a wide variety of ranks for a Scadaboo, anywhere from probably 6 to 15.
Well, but Cody, that's this running back class.
Correct.
Where are you going to go in the market and see Torrey Horton? You're going to be the single highest person in the world on him. I'm not the single person high. McShay is higher on Scadaboo than I am.
Yeah.
I think he has him over Caleb Johnson.
If you think you're going to bully me into getting off of Torrey Horton, or
I'm not bullying you.
or like
I'm just trying to figure out I'm trying to figure out the process that led you to this.
I mean, I laid it out to you. The guy had a 31% team market share. He should have been a 3-time All Mountain West. He got injured, missed 7 games this year, had knee surgery, missed all the season, came back from knee surgery in a 4.41, was supposed to be 6'3", 180. He ended up being 6'2", 196. He's built how I want. He's elite in yards per route run. He's a guy with on the field as a route runner I love. I think his hand-eye coordination and his awareness is elite. I think he's completely under the radar for these obvious exact reasons I'm talking about right now. I did think he was slender, but again, the build came through and kind of auto-corrected that a little bit. I think that there's a lot here for upside with Torrey Horton in the whole profile. I'm just saying, I don't think that it's out of pocket or wrong to say that Nolan Higgins, it's more than likely they're just going to be good receivers than they are to be elite receivers. And I think that there's a shot, and this is my take, and this is my stance, is I have Horton graded as a second-round graded receiver, which is probably going to be higher than everybody else, like you said. But it's to the fact that I believe he has, in his range of outcomes, elite traits and elite output. And that's going to be something that, like in fantasy, like if I can get an advantage with a guy like Horton where nobody's drafting the guy, and I can sit here and I can go, well, I love what Torrey Horton brings, and I can see some Jordan Addison to this guy's game in a Josh Reynolds body. It's not going to cost me that much to get a Torrey Horton like that. Now, if I'm sitting in a dynasty draft, this is the also thing. If you're sitting in a dynasty draft, just because the rankings are built a certain way doesn't mean you just have to be like, yep, taking him right there. You have to understand, first off, your group, first, and secondly, first off, the other 11 owners you're drafting against, and secondly, general ADP. If general ADP is showing you that Nolan Higgins are going off at pick 114 in dynasty drafts, and you can see Horton's ADP is 270, well, then what? Don't be a dummy.
Which is probably realistic.
Cool. Don't draft Horton at 114.
But see, some people might not know that and just look and say, like, this is the list. Like, this is how Cody would draft them.
It's not a cheat sheet. It's a rankings. Would you rather have me put Torrey Horton at receiver 17 because that's where his ADP is at, or put him at wide receiver 6 because that's where I think he belongs? You tell me.
Well, but we're doing dynasty, but we're doing a dynasty top 250. We're not doing a prospect ranking sheet.
This is a dynasty top 250 rankings.
Yes, but it's not a prospect ranking. It's a dynasty fantasy football ranking.
Correct. It's dynasty fantasy football ranking.
So you're saying if I'm picking players, I pick them in this order?
No. Dude, in any ranking ever, you have to understand what you're doing, who you're drafting against, who you're competing against, who you're trading with. You have to understand the market, the value, and everything. That's just dynasty game theory.
No, it's not.
That's how I play fantasy football. I rank it how I see it, and then I adjust when I'm in the moment, given the situation.
Cody, shouldn't our job be to tell people who to pick? And not say, hey, here's a list of some cockamamie thing that Cody believes, and then now we're going to. But now you go off into the woods by yourself, and we're going to leave it at your devices to say like, oh, Cody's out of pocket on this guy, so I'm not going to draft him until later. It's
okay,
like, come on,
let's add in the consensus worldwide ADP market into our rankings so people can see where we stand, because heaven forbid, like I'm not going to sit here and put in a ranking that is consensus with ADP or like 5 spots higher than ADP. No, like if I'm going to make a stance, I'm going to make a stance on a player. It's like making a stance on, Josh Allen as a rookie, right? You're going to make a stance on a guy. You're not going to be like, well, I think he's pretty good. No, you're going to come out, you're going to go, man, that guy's got a hose, and I see some potential right there. You're going to be convicted about it. You're going to give your opinion. You're going to come out and you're going to say, I don't know why the hell Jonathan Mingo is being mocked at the end of round 1. He is not a first-round wide receiver, right? You're going to come to the university and say, why in the hell aren't people talking about Luther Burden in the first round? He belongs in the first round. You're going to have a take, right? It's the take. It's the thought. We're not putting rankings together.
Cody, I've been having takes for 15. I've been having takes doing this for 15 years and strong takes where I said, like, at our company, we're literally not allowed to say the words "in my opinion." It's not like it doesn't even matter, right? We're here to give takes and talk about these things. But what I will say is, in the if we're making a dynasty top 250, it should be the top 250 rankings in fantasy football. Whereas if you have them in the prospect sheet that's going to be available to our pro members at 6 overall, people are like, dang, Cody loves Torrey Horton. In the dynasty top 250, if there's not something, because like you said, it's not the cheat sheet. The cheat sheet during draft season, or if you're using the best ball cheat sheet, you follow the 3 simple rules at the top of the sheet of paper. You pick the players, and we map it out for you, and we leverage you versus ADP, right? And it's already done for you. What Cody's saying now is he's saying, all right, if he's going to do this thing where he's not going to take into account projected draft capital for these players, and he's not going to take into account.
I'm not taking that into account.
No. Because you have Torrey Horton ranked ahead of 2 guys who you freely admitted have at least 2 rounds better draft capital.
Oh, freely admitted, but you can also see in the sheet that I admittedly haven't updated with my actual grades post combine. Pre combine, I had a 2nd round grade on Torrey Horton and 4th round grades on Noel and Higgins.
Okay.
So if you can infer that I just told you everything I did about my analysis of Horton post combine, you could infer that that's probably not going to go down. I'm probably going to continue with that 2nd round grade on Torrey Horton. And if I told you that I also believe that Nolan Higgins didn't hurt themselves at the combine, they rather helped themselves, they're probably going to come up. None of those things are bad. It's just it's my grade. It's my thoughts, it's my analysis, it's my ranking. Now, if you want to tell me that I should have a different process for ranking these rookies in Dynasty versus how I rank them in my fantasy football rookie rankings, which in my mind are the same exact damn thing.
No, those are the same things.
Same exact thing.
Yeah.
So why should I move them? Why should I change how it's laid out in the Dynasty ranking? Why should I have in my rookie ranking Horton as my 6th receiver, and then in Dynasty have him be my 12th receiver?
Because if people, well, I'm not saying he should be your 12. I'm saying if the ADP is something like, you can get him in the 18th. You could get that guy in the 18th round of some startup draft.
He's wide receiver 15 on Keep Trade Cut right now.
Okay, so what is that? What in a rookie wide receiver 15? It's probably
correct. Jalen Noel is wide receiver 13, by the way.
Who really? All right. What is Higgins?
10.
Okay. So and the guys before them are all guys that you have ranked, because I guarantee you that Ian Manor is ahead of those guys. Isaiah Bond's probably ahead of those guys.
8 and 7. Restrepo's 9.
And so so that's bad.
But Tez Johnson's 12. This is consensus. Keep Trade Cut. It's a worldwide consensus.
I get it. But what I'm saying is, if we're like within the Dynasty top 250, that's for you and Trashman to administer. Like I said, it's fine. You can do whatever you want, have your own takes, do whatever you want. But just realize people are going to go in there and they're going to look at that ranking and they're going to say, I'm picking based off this ranking. And so if you don't want them to do that, I would say we need to put in ADPs and just say like, yeah, hey, here's the ADP and there's a big ADP differential here. You know what I'm saying? Like people should be able to know. They should be able to know.
That's fair.
Because
I don't think that's a bad thought. I think that's fair. They should also listen to the show. They should also tap in every single day to the show, and they can listen to these conversations, these rants, these diatribes, and understand the top 250 and stay informed. And that'll help you even take advantage of those rankings and win your drafts. So I'll adjust, but I'm not going to adjust the rank.
No, you shouldn't adjust the rank. Like you said, have your take. It's fine. I just don't want it to be confused. Like it confused me to see. That's all. And I don't want others confused. And like Cody said, that's why you listen to the show. It's why you like the show. Subscribe to the channel. We're doing it every day. We're putting a lot of time and effort into making sure that we're doing this consistently and bringing you this content. But we can't continue to do it if you don't like the show and don't subscribe to the channel, because those are the metrics that our partners in this business look at. And obviously we all have a say in sort of how our efforts are, just how
Displayed.
we devote our time, right? And
Yeah.
if like they're like, man, we're not getting our any ROI on devoting this much time with Trashman having a daily show, Alex and Cody having a daily show, it's like the way that we're seeing we're getting an ROI on this is truly by your likes and your subscribes to the channel. So if you want us to keep doing it, please like the show, subscribe to the channel.